This, and strictly because there wasn't a lot of touchdowns from him, I would say this is 2 right behind what T-Mac did in week 1.
That's fair. That's fair. I think as far as rushing goes, obviously you're the second in school history now. I know the touchdowns were kind of lacking for sure, but you still put up 262 yards plus 35 in the air as well. You basically put up 300 all-purpose yards, which is pretty close to what T-Mac put up overall, right? Like that's not normal.
And I will say it's easier to do it through the air than it is on the ground.
Yeah, that's not normal. Especially
it's
when,
not normal.
Especially
He's not a normal guy, dude.
But especially when a team is expecting it. Like, this was not a surprise. This was Cam Skattebo carrying the ball 33 times in a game where they needed him. Yeah. Mississippi State knew exactly what Arizona State was trying to do.
Yeah.
And Cam Skattebo still made it work.
I mean, not only did he make it work, he made it thrive. This guy was dominant. There was nothing that Mississippi State could do from the start of the game to the end of the game. And, I mean, let's stop beating around the bush here. Let's go ahead. Let's get into bottle service from tonight's game. Like, I texted, I'll be honest with y'all, I texted Kyle at halftime. Cool. I told you who was going to be bottle service because there's nobody more deserving than Cam Skattebo getting bottle service tonight. 262 yards on the ground. The man averaged 7.9 yards per carry. Honestly, the 7.9 yards per carry for me, Eric, is probably more impressive than the 262 yards.
He was bouncing off dudes.
He was.
And he was picking up really, really tough yards. This was not just a defense that was letting them run free and rapid. Like when Mississippi State put up that amount of points against Eastern Kentucky in week 1, it was because Eastern Kentucky was literally letting them do whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
Cam had to earn every single yard today. And 7.9 per carry when you rush for 33 attempts is godlike.
Yeah.
It's, again, one of the best rushing performances in school history, one of the best performances in the Big 12 so far this season, probably one of the better rushing performances in Big 12 history. I'm not going to say it's like a top 10, top 15, but it's not often you see 262 yards.
No,
right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
You don't
not.
just wake up and see that, on a normal day.
Scat 8 today. And look, we've given him a lot of flowers. The offensive line, like we talked a little bit about earlier, Lee Fautanu all the way down to Mad Max on the right side. Obviously, Cade Briggs, Ben Coleman, all those guys. Just a phenomenal job, right? Because Scat doesn't do this all on his own, despite what people think, despite what the numbers say. They don't give the offensive line credit, and it is what it is. The
this
offensive
doesn't happen
line
without them.
No, and the offensive line has been more impressive over the first 2 weeks than I would. And I mean this. The offensive line has been more impressive to me over the first 2 weeks of this season than any position group on this team. People are going to talk about the running backs, and they're going to get their flowers. People are going to talk, obviously, on the defensive side of the ball about the linebackers, the D-line, the secondary. But guess what? We knew that. We knew that this defense was going to be good going into the season. And if you haven't been listening, that's a shame on you. We had been saying that this defense was going to be a problem.
We've been pretty, like, I'm not even trying to pat us on the back, but like the things that we notice as far as trends go over spring, fall camp, everything.
It's almost like we go to practice. Huh?
They're coming to light.
Yeah.
But sometimes practice doesn't translate. And for this team, it feels like it is. Offensive line deserves so much credit. I love that there's competition for which room is doing the best.
Sean Nas coming back too.
Sean Nas coming back. He was supposed to be a massive part of this line too. Saga Tutulele is doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
A really, really good job, because you don't just get offensive line play to the peak of what they can do based purely off talent alone.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. It has to be a complete unit. It has to be a bunch of guys working together in unison, mixing in and out, and protecting their quarterback. And again, this is a rush-heavy game. But they had a lot heavier of a passing offense against Wyoming, and they were able to protect for both.
Yeah.
Right? And obviously, Sam being able to use his legs definitely helps in that situation.
First touchdown of the game.
Before we get too far away from Cam's individual rushing yards, I have a fun fact for everybody here. There is 2 schools who show up multiple times right now on the top 10 rushers. This is before Cam was added, so technically one of these schools would be out. But before tonight, there were 2 schools that were repetitive as far as who ASU rushers ran against. Eno Benjamin, Benny Malone, and Delvin Flowers all rushed for over 200 yards against
Mississippi State?
Oregon State.
Oh, the poor Beavs.
Eno put 312 on Oregon State. Benny put 250 on Oregon State. And Delvin put up 226. And then there's another team that's gone twice. Art Malone in 1968 put 239 on New Mexico. DJ Foster in 2014 tied for 10th. Now he's bumped down to 11th. Put up 216 against New Mexico. Just, I don't know. Something fun.
That's crazy.
Guess what? Add Mississippi State to the list.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
We all silly like the mayor.